Looks like it's loading now. All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Jax Atlantis, and today we are doing yet another live chat, and I have a very special guest with me here. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Jax.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So my name's Elysia. I'm a Toltec shaman, and I specialize in working with people on transmuting fear, limiting beliefs, wounds, and I also do psychic readings. So I channel messages from your higher self and your guides to you. I also do mentorship, so I teach others how to do this as well.
That's amazing. And what are some of the things that you teach in your mentorships?
Pretty much how to connect with your guides and your higher self, and then I will connect with your higher self and they will show me, or your higher self will show me different tools that you need specifically right now. So I'll walk you through different processes and show that to you. And it's cool because sometimes I learn something too. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah. And how'd you get into Toltec shamanism? What was that? How did that journey start?
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny. You know those movies where like the guy is with the girl and he's like searching for love, and then the whole time he realizes the girl was like right there, right in front of him.
Right.
It was one of those situations. So growing up, I always felt very connected to and attracted to Native Americans and also shamans. And and it's weird. It's almost like I came to this earth with these shamanic and also Native American codes, because I remember being like 5 years old and being like, you can't eat an animal without, you know, getting consent or doing it in a way that's respectful. And I just knew certain things that it wasn't taught to me. I just kind of knew it. And
it's pretty magical.
It's super magical. And so I was just always really attracted to that. I was really attracted to ancient rituals, to magic, to the occult. I just always knew there was something more to life. And I felt like I had lived many lifetimes, even as a child. I was like, okay, this is, you know, I've learned a few things. I'm here to learn a few more. It was weird. It's like I just knew. And a few years ago, I met someone virtually online. I actually had a spiritual awakening in 2017, I believe. And what it looked like was pretty much like a mental breakdown. So I was like, whoa, this is really crazy. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, like way worse than this. And I don't know why I'm feeling like this is too much. Like if God came to me at that moment and was like, listen, I will take your life. It won't be this difficult thing. You can go now if you wish. I would have been like, please take me, because this is way too much. It was almost like there was this overwhelming rush of pain and energy that was too big for my body to handle.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking a trip, a vacation, because I was really burnt out. I was working. I was just doing too much. And I ended up getting a reading from Valerie. You know Valerie?
Yeah.
She's a psychic. And I started working with Valerie. And then she introduced me to Ari. I started working with Ari and I started studying with her and working with her. And it just kind of naturally led to that space where I was like, oh, this is what I'm also here to do. I had no idea that I was going to do healing work in this way. But now that I look at my life, I'm like, this totally makes sense. Like it was totally like I've learned so many things along the way that I've taken with me to this. So it's worked out. And I'm finally in this place where I'm like, I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I feel confident in my abilities. And now I'm just like, okay, how can I exercise and wield and yield these abilities and skills that I have? How can I just run with it? So,
how can you use
because I spent the first half of my life just being like in analysis paralysis, like, oh God, what do I do? And having the doubt and like not feeling good enough and working through all of those things. So
no, I had a very similar journey. It was it was just constantly waiting to find the right answer And eventually I had to realize that just expressing what it is I thought was the answer was far more powerful than actually like, you know, connecting and controlling the right answer. And it's invaluable. So what would you say your mission statement is for your life, the thing that you really are aiming to do or create change in when it comes to the world?
Well, it's funny because, you know, I actually have my mission statement and my why written up in my room. And I've had this for about
Oh,
12
that's
years.
amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I can actually grab it and read it to
Yes. Oh, that'd be great.
you. Okay, hold on one second.
Definitely.
Pause, you guys.
Yep. And meanwhile, everybody, if you can share this out to Facebook, Instagram, that would be awesome. We would love it if you'd share it around. The more places you share it, the more people see it, and the more we're able to keep doing awesome interviews like this. We have had some really cool guests on these past few weeks, and it's been pretty amazing. And so for everyone that shares, just know that it contributes to that, and it makes it more and more exciting each and every time. So yes, so you have your mission statement now in front of you.
Yes. So what's funny is I'm a singer and a songwriter, and so my like up until a few years ago, I always thought my whole purpose and mission was to just solely be a singer and artist and entertainer. And so now with my shamanism, I'm like, oh, this is like the Holy Trinity. Like this is exactly,
Right.
I'm locked into exactly where I'm supposed to be. So this is more along the lines of that intention, just so you know. I'll probably add to it, but my mission statement is important to me because I want to evoke a big change in the world through who I am and what I contribute. I'm a positive role model and someone who will empower men and especially women all over the world to be better people and own their greatness. I want to be a leader's leader and inspire people to educate themselves, for people to find themselves, accept themselves, stand in their greatness, and do big things, to be confident, trusting, giving individuals, making a change in their lives for the better, and evoking change in a positive way in their community. I want to be the voice for people who feel like they don't have one.
Wow. That's
So,
beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And it's Pisces to the max. That is Pisces to the
Totally.
max right there.
Totally.
I remember the first time I had met you and we had talked very briefly about astrology. And I think when I did a tarot reading for you, I had actually pulled the High Priestess card for you, which is, of course, like an archetypally Piscean energy. It's almost like stereotypically Pisces.
Yeah.
And I remember it being such a perfect fit, even though at the time, I believe you were still, it was still about, I think just about music for you at that point. Or like you knew there was something more, like you knew you were about to venture off for something more, but it was like in that direction. And it's funny in that card, it feels like you've stepped into that. It feels like you've become the High Priestess, you know? And so that's magical. That is so magical.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, magical is my favorite word. I feel like magical represents Pisces. Like
yeah, well, you're chock full of it. So yeah. But yeah, so do you create events now, or do you mainly do a lot of this online?
Yeah, I do both. So because of the quarantine, I've been doing online events, but I've done in-person events all over. I've done them in Atlanta and California. And so I love to meet with people and connect with people, either virtually or in person. And it's so amazing that we live in this time where there's the internet and we can connect with people all over the world. Because I've had clients from all over the world, from Ireland, Pakistan, Egypt. I'm like, what? It's just so cool. And it's allowing us to be more connected, which is great, and find people who are more like-minded, like you. Like all the people that I met the same day that I met you, you're all such good friends of mine now. And I hold you all so near and dear to my heart. And it's funny because I remember talking to one of my best friends earlier, and I was like, wow, I'm sure you've had this moment. But today was one of those moments. I woke up and I was like, wow, I'm literally living things that I prayed for. And like I remember praying to have a community and friendship group of people who were like my age, but also doing healing work and I could talk to you about the metaphysical. I grew up doing personal development work. So like I literally was 18 in intensive workshops with a bunch of 40, 50, 60-year-olds. Like I've always been with older people doing like really intense mental work.
Right.
And so I was like, I really want to find people who are like my age, who are doing the stuff that I can talk to about these things. And I also wanted to find a community of musicians that I could relate to, but they also were more spiritual and aligned. And now I have that. And it's like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. It took years and years and years, but it's such an amazing thing.
Yeah, so it's almost like you've always been painting with the color green, but you finally found the shade of green that's like, this
Oh,
is the
that's
one that I want to paint with.
perfect.
Yeah,
Totally,
that's
totally. And
wild.
it's amazing because as soon as I got to this point where I fully realized my vision and my purpose, I just started really going into that and really practicing that. And it's almost like I did make a quantum leap. I was going to say it's almost like I made a quantum leap. No, I
Right.
absolutely made a quantum leap. And it's funny because my family even made comments. They're like, I feel like you just jumped from like 20s to 50.
Right.
Like what just happened? It's like I collapsed all of these time frames because I was just so in it. And when we master the basics of certain things, we're able to learn other things so much quicker because
Right.
we have mastered that foundation first, and then we can build upon it, which I'm learning, which is amazing.
Yeah, like almost like it's like almost a metaphor for like a star. It like collapses into itself and then just expands all of a sudden. And
Oh
it's
my gosh,
through
I
the
love
simplification
that.
process of the collapse
Yes,
that then leads you to the true expansion. That's
totally. I
cool.
mean, it's an awakening. That's what a spiritual awakening is. It's
Yeah.
like you really find, you strip away the ego, you strip away these concepts that aren't really you. It's just stuff that you've taken on through the course of your life or through society or culture, things like that.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. So what's next for you here, micronizing down? What's the next project that you're working on or class that you're releasing?
Yeah, so it's so funny. I was actually thinking about how I was going to answer this today because
Hmm.
I really don't like talking about things that I'm working on because
Ah,
I've
okay.
worked on so
Classic
many
Pisces.
things.
Okay, go on.
No, I've
Yeah,
worked on so
that's
many
so cool.
things and then it didn't work out or something went wrong. And I was like, oh my God, guys, and then I'm like, just kidding. So I've learned to really just be quiet till I put things out. However, I'm really excited about this. I've been working on a course all about the divine feminine and the sacred masculine and those energies and how you can identify those energies and use them in your day-to-day life, but also when it
Hmm.
comes to relationship, because I've been studying relationship my whole life. I've been fascinated by relationship. My parents divorced before I was born, and they had a crazy relationship. They were fighting in court over me for about 12 years, like the first 12 years of my life. It was very publicized, it was a very big thing. So in a way, it was like this core wound that I had, that my parents were separate and that there was this animosity towards each other.
Yeah.
And I never have even seen them in the same place together. Like I've never even seen them interact.
Wow.
So from that it created this huge desire to understand relationship and to basically have a solid relationship so I could build what I didn't have growing up, and really like work through that ancestrally, because that's been an ancestral thing
Yeah.
of broken relationships. So I've been studying that, and it's so fascinating when you understand really what high value divine feminine energy is, and also high value masculine energy, and how it shows up. Because there's so many women, for example, and they can talk so sweetly and so kind and be dressed so nicely, but they're actually operating in really masculine ways, and so they
Yep.
don't
Yeah.
understand why they're not able to connect with a man at a deeper level, and vice versa. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
that we have to dismantle and relearn. you know
Yeah, the
and
game of
so
make believe of playing that caricature of your gender. The
totally.
ironic thing is you become so much more of your gender when you stop trying to behave as if you're that gender. Like
Oh,
you
totally.
really like just step it. Like for me, the example was in my early years, I just was trying so hard to appear in a certain way that ended up having the opposite effect. And it's ironically, when I gave up on it, I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like I just, people will see me however they want to see me. And then it was like, there was this huge breakthrough. And I feel like that happens so much out there. People think that they need to play a part or they need to appear as.
Totally.
And ironically, if they don't care, that's something that's universally magnetic and attractive. We love when people don't care, and
It's
not
being
don't care. And
unattached.
yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not like nihilism. It's like the point of just being like, you know what, I just am what I am. And it's just like, that's
Totally.
attractive. That's
It
really attractive.
is.
So
And it's funny because as a Pisces, I'm incredibly in tune and deeply sensitive and emotional, but my Venus is in Aquarius. So when I'm in relationship, I'm like a cool, like I'm like the cool girl who's like, all right, that's cool. Like I'm just very,
right.
it's Venus in Aquarius is very unattached, but they're also very like, this is who I am, so take it or leave it. If you don't like it, that's cool, but I do. So
Right.
here we are.
Yeah. That's a useful combo for sure.
Totally. And yeah, what you said is dead on. It's so true. And it's funny because I was talking with a friend earlier today, and she was talking to me about her relationship and how there's sort of been like, she's been dating this guy for a while and it hasn't really got off the ground. And they're like, what's going on? What's up? And as she was telling me what was going on, I was like, well, girl, you know, you're acting completely different than who you actually are.
Bingo.
And he's giving you feedback that he needs reassurance. He doesn't know where you're at. You're showing up in ways that are not clear. And she's like, well, I have so much anxiety and I'm going through this and I'm going through that. And I'm like, okay, then express that, talk about that, because how you're showing up, he may be like, wow, she's judging me, or maybe she's not interested, or maybe she's really wanting to date other guys. I don't know. And that's why we have to be, especially as women, just so connected to our heart and our feelings, and release any shame on what our feelings are, and just be like, feel safe enough to express who we are. Because how can anyone love another person if that person is not showing up as they authentically are? How do you know what makes
you don't give them the opportunity, unless you're lucky and you just so happen to have a crush on like some Sherlock Holmesian person who like can deduce exactly who you really are. Like if they can do that, that's like super convenient for you. But like otherwise you'll have to actually show up as you really are, fully honest. And to me, it's like mosquito repellent. If you show up as you truly are and say every single thing you believe to be true, you might be like, well, then what if they don't like me? And it's like, perfect. Then that means that they don't like you, and that you're then like, you're not with them anymore.
Yeah.
So you can be with someone who actually likes the contents of who and what you are. And it's perfect that way. Yeah.
It's funny because I've been in the opposite situation. Like I was in one relationship where at the beginning of the relationship, I was like, look, this is who I am. This is what I can handle. This is what I can't. I'm desiring a conscious relationship, meaning if you have an issue, you bring it to me, we talk about it and find a solution. And then if we can't agree on a solution, or we can't agree on, you know, we're trying and it's not working, then we can make a conscious decision to break up, because what we want is different. It's not aligned. Yeah. It's not that hard. It's not that serious. It's like very cut and dry for me. And there was one relationship about a year in. This guy, he sat me down and he was like, you know what? I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. You're like this and I hate this, and I've been pretending to like this and I don't. And I'm like, dude, you could have just told me. Like we wouldn't have to have done all of this stuff. So the journey to love is really, it's really, like, as cliche as it sounds, it's really self-love. It's really understanding yourself and nurturing yourself in a way where you feel confident enough, secure enough, safe enough to be who you are, and not be so afraid, if I show up, this person's going to leave. And if they do leave, you're going to be fine. Like, we're all going to be fine. You know, it just saves a lot of time, in my opinion. I'm like, you know, don't waste my time. Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah, no, it definitely saves a lot of time that way. What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions with the feminine and masculine that's commonly thrown around in the form of like memes, or in the form of like, you know, Facebook wisdom, you might say? Like, what's one of the biggest things that you want to either target, or that you just come across a lot?
So a lot of I would call it behaviors. A lot of behaviors that are talked about on social media, those are, I would call wounded, or of what I really see it as is a distorted version of femininity or masculinity. I don't know, like with women, that they're superficial, they just, you know, date men for money, they're not responsible, and they're not honest, things like that. Any person connected to their divine feminine energy, you can't relate to that. That's not how you show up. Just like a man, you know, like real true masculine energy is protective, and it's very safe, because the masculine and the feminine has done the inner work to control their inner demons, ego, whatever, so that when that does come out, it's at the right place and time. Like the way I describe it is kind of like a warrior, you know, for the masculine. He is willing to go out, he's willing to fight for his tribe, his family, whatever. But at the end of the day, he could turn around and be the most gentle, kind-hearted man to a child, or to a woman, or to someone else. So it's really about having those clear boundaries. And yeah, a lot of the stuff I see, I don't relate to, because I'm like, that's not actual feminine and masculine energies. Those are just like wounded, distorted versions of reality playing out.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that out there. And I see things all the time where it's like, whether it's in the form of a meme or whether it's whatever, and it gets, you know, millions upon millions of shares and all these different things. And I'm like, oh man, like that's a bummer, because like just honesty and just treating it unanimously. So ironically, it feels to me at least that you can truly respect and make give an honest look to the real feminine and masculine by treating them originally as unanimous, treating them as just, you know, people in the first place, and just using, you know, taking an honest look at it, but rather than creating it from the separationist point of view. To me, the separationist point of view is like what makes it really I don't know, it creates unnecessary division. But yeah, what do you think is something that people could apply right now? If there's like a guy out there and a gal out there that are watching, what is one thing for like the feminine and one thing for the masculine that is just so common? You're like, here's something you can do right now that would help you step into this energy.
Yeah. So I'm going to say a few things.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say this one. But one thing that helps is sort of zooming out and taking a bird's eye view of what's going on and being very objective and looking from all different side perspectives. And for me personally, it's funny, I was just talking to a friend about this too today. When I first moved to Los Angeles, it was 2016. And I had this anger towards men. I was like, why? I would see so many things and I would hear so many stories of certain things going on. And I was just tired of it. I was just tired of hearing certain things happening. And it was funny because I would go to the gym. I'd walk to the gym. It was about a 20-minute walk. I would be dressed in like sweatpants and like looking like a boy, just like totally, you know, and I would get catcalled and guys would say really derogatory things towards me. And I was just like, being a Pisces, I'm like, why though? Like, you don't know me. Like, I just want to be nice to you. You're all my brothers and sisters. Why are you doing this?
Right.
And it would get me more riled up and be like, how are you going to disrespect me like this? It's so mean.
And your Libra moon, right?
Just yes, and I'm a Libra moon.
Yeah. So you're like, that's not logical. This does not make sense. Yeah.
I'm like, this is completely illogical. So I would get really riled up over it. And what I realized is the more I dug deeper into my own feminine and masculine wounding from my life, from things that I picked up from parents, from messages I picked up as a young girl or as a teenager. And the more I identified that and worked through that and healed that, and also really, really took a look at that other person's perspective that hurt me and understood that whatever someone does to us, that is not a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of the emotional state that person is in. And if we understand that, we can actually really have compassion for these people because they're so disconnected from love and true love and true respect that they can't even emanate it. And when you come from that place, it's almost like, oh wow, like the Pisces in me, like someone could stab
No, I
me
feel
in my
that to the
last
max.
breath, I'd be like,
Yeah.
are you okay though? Like I'm just, I
Is your
can't
arm
help
tired
it.
from stabbing me?
I
Yeah.
know, I'm like, oh my God, but are you gonna be okay? Like it hurts so bad, please stop, but are you okay?
I imagine you just handing someone an icy hot and then just
Well,
yeah.
I'm like, you must be so tormented to want to do this. I mean,
Right.
you know? And so just really taking a step back and really giving yourself the thing that you're looking for and not projecting it out on everyone else. Because that's, we're doing a lot of that. And what we have to understand is that there's feminine and masculine energy in all of us. And usually what I'm noticing is that when we come across difficulties or hardships, or we feel a lot of wounding coming up, it's because we haven't fully integrated our divine feminine and our sacred masculine internally. I notice this a lot with men and women. There's women who are super feminine, but they haven't incorporated their masculine side. They don't know how to set boundaries. They don't know how to communicate clearly or communicate what they want. And so they don't feel that confidence. They don't feel safe. And it's because their inner masculine isn't developed enough to keep them safe. So then they're looking out for men to make me feel safe because I don't feel safe in this world. And they're expecting these men to show up in ways that they can't even show up for themselves.
Right. Exactly.
And so it's, and vice versa with men. There's been a lot of men that I've spoken to who they've relied on women, or they've relied on me or other people to kind of help them emotionally. And it's like at a certain point, we have to really take responsibility for ourselves and not put that on the other people, the other person in the partnership.
That's beautiful. Well, yeah, I think that's super helpful. I think that that's something that everyone could, take a look at today, as of today.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of work online, you do a lot of these different things. You don't at the moment want to bring up any projects just in case it sort of, doesn't end
Well,
up going
I'm going to
through.
put that out. That's why I'm going to be
Okay.
putting out a course on this.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Which is exciting. I've been working, this is like my life's work. I've been working on this for years and years and years. So it's time. Spirit's like, it's time. Come on.
Yeah. So what's a good way for people to connect with you? Because I've got your links in the description. I've got, like your IG and everything like that. But if someone wanted to like really dig into this masculine, feminine energy and start to understand it, what would be the best way to connect with you for that?
So Facebook would be great. My business page on Facebook, I'm really active on there. People message me all the time. That's how people book me. Either it's through social media or you can email me, but I like warmer contact. So I like to, be able to see the person I'm talking to and really communicate and connect with them. Because that's important to me. I really want to connect with my clients. I really want them to feel safe and feel just really connected.
That is really exciting. And do you have any upcoming, or even the idea of any upcoming shamanic retreats for Toltec shamanism specifically?
Yes, we are doing one. I have to like touch base again because so much has changed because of this quarantine. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We're planning on one at the end of this year. And so it just depends on, we're just waiting on a few things right now. So
that is so cool. That is
awesome.
But
I can't wait to get into retreats. I love retreats. I love them. So I can't wait to host my next one because that's where all the magic happens,
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I would love to close this out. Obviously, if you have any things that you want to say, that'd be great. But otherwise, I would love to do a feminine, masculine reading for the collective right now for the next few days. And I'll use tarot cards, and you can use something, or you can just go Pisces and just
listen. She gets direct downloads. I don't even need cards at this point.
Yeah.
But I'll get my deck too, and we'll have a good time.
Okay.
So hold on one sec.
Okay. So I think I'm going to first just draw 3 cards for the feminine. Then we can do masculine. Interesting. Wow, this is, oh, wow. Okay. So that's so funny. All right. So for the feminine, this will be for the next few days. I'm feeling the next 3 days out. That's who this reading is for the feminine and then the masculine. So for the feminine, first things first, one thing that feels like it's a very strong energy that will connect you right now is the energy of perseverance, particularly the energy of persevering when you know that other people will perceive what you're doing as a failure because it didn't work out the first time, or that it's something that people won't have evidence of your upcoming success because of it, and feeling comfortable knowing that from your ambition and from your true connection to the passion of what you're doing, and through, of course, with the wands energy, this feels like a very masculine energy, using that masculine energy of Sagittarius. And then, of course, the next card is actually regression, a Six of Wands, which is the success and victory card. So actually indulging in the success that this leads to, meaning when this happens, obviously we don't want to become hyper egotistical and all these different things, but at the same time, the celebration of your victory and almost sort of a, kind of like, hey, look at me, almost like a little bit magnanimous, is sometimes very necessary because it creates a healthy baseline so that you know when you're ascending in life and when you're finding success. Because if you only pay attention to when you fail and then you refuse to give yourself any credit for when you succeed, you
Absolutely.
cannot build yourself a successful baseline. It's only going to
Absolutely.
be difficulty. And then it's interesting. Then you've got masculine air of Three of Swords. You have, this is a Libran energy. And we all know Three of Swords is like this heartbreak card and all this different stuff. But the reality is the Three of Swords, three numerology in tarot, represents the beginning of a journey. It's an imperfect beginning. It's the moment Frodo leaves the Shire, right? That's not the end of the story. That's like basically the very beginning. The only things that happened before that were like the setup and some of the info and the characters coming together. But this is the beginning of the story. Understand right now that if you are in the feminine and you are going through heartbreak, you're going through, what feels like the loss of a relationship, recognize that you are starting a new journey as an independent character who is not tied to this person that you feel you lost. You are not tied to them. You are not them. You were you. And to be able to handle this energy that's coming forward, as tough as it can be, with genuine emotional connection to yourself and feeling your way through it, and at the same time not getting lost in that feeling to the degree where it pulls you down into a depression. Being able to say, I acknowledge that I'm really hurt because like it just hurts to not feel this person near me, but at the same time I know this is a new beginning for me. I'm not just
Yeah.
single again suddenly. I'm my independent character who realizes that I may have been drawing too much codependence or connection on this person to a degree where it was an unhealthy level of attachment, So anyways, that's what I feel for the feminine coming up. It's all masculine fire and air all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the integration of both,
Yeah.
because that's how you can really, like, imagine a man not connected to his heart or emotions. It's like, how can you be really in power in your masculinity? Right. As a woman, how can we really be in power if we don't take our power back? Right. And operate from a confident, really grounded and secure place? Yeah. That's beautiful. Wow. Okay. Well, should I go with my feminine cards?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this card literally popped out while I was shuffling. It literally like did a triple axle out.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Pickle stitches, whatever this one's gonna be.
It was like, pick me. We got something to say. So this is from my goddess deck, and the card is Aphrodite. I don't know if you can see it really well. Let me see. Oh, my light's too bright.
It's just extra shiny. It's just,
I know, it's just so bright. She shines so bright. There she is. You can see her better. Yeah. And this is the card of the inner goddess. And it says here, awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity. And so what's coming through here is that the collective, the feminine collective, is really starting to feel into their internal world, into what are my feelings and why do I feel the way that I feel? What is it that I need? And how can I give that to myself so that I feel beautiful and abundant and gorgeous and radiant and powerful and connected? And that is awakening. And it's awakening through this time alone, through this time to connect with our bodies, to dance, to explore, to just be. Being is very feminine and doing is very masculine.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
really about connecting to that beingness of that inner goddess, of that woman who is just so joyful and radiant because she's building a life in which she is happy and feels full. The next card that came out was the goddess Athena, which is all about inner wisdom.
Right.
And it says, you know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom and take appropriate action without delay. I don't know if you can see it in this card, but there's an owl here with Athena. And so this represents wisdom in that, you know, women are incredibly intuitive. And right now what's happening is women are starting to understand the distinction between their ego and their intuition so that they can learn to trust their intuition. There's been a lot of distrust in the feminine collective with their own intuition, which has led to a lot of their own heartbreak because they weren't listening to it. And so what's coming out here is that we're getting a lot of opportunities to stand in our power and operate in different ways than we did in the past, where we felt like we gave our power away or we didn't feel really in integrity with ourselves. And the next card I have is the goddess Danita. It's the goddess of prosperity. And it says the universe is pouring its abundance onto you. Be open to receiving. So receiving is 100% feminine and giving is masculine. So think of like a man opening the door for, you know, a woman, or, you know, paying for the bill. It's a providing. There's this providing protective energy. And with women, we've been taught to give and give at the expense of ourselves and overgive. And so our test, our opportunity, our lesson is to really get good at receiving, because in order to receive, you have to feel incredibly worthy. And as a woman, that is our job, is to cultivate this worth so that we can actually receive the powerful blessing that the universe, that the masculine, that the collective has for us from just being who we are.
And that sounds crazy because, like, you know, it almost sounds like, how can it be difficult to receive? It's like, no, that's one of the most difficult ones out there. It's 95% of the clients I work with are women, and almost every single reading has some part around receiving affection from their partner, or receiving abundance financially, or receiving. So receiving is difficult. If basically, for anyone out there who doesn't feel like their life is yet what it ought to be, or that it's not in that place that you want it to be, just take a look at what it is that's difficult to receive. And that almost sounds like it's about taking blame or putting it on the person. But the reality is, you'll start to pinpoint, oh my God, every time this new type of job opportunity came through, every time this friend offered to do something, I said, no, it's okay, it's fine. It's like, it's not fine. What's fine is you taking it, because like, that's, you know, that's right. So,
I just got chills when you said that. That's dead on. It's so wild. It's amazing how we're just creatures of habit and patterns. And if we can identify those patterns and then make different ones and interrupt that pattern as it's coming up and do something different, that's how we really create long-lasting change.
Yeah.
So, that's incredible. That's beautiful. Awesome. All right, let's find out what we have for the masculine.
And for the masculine, surprise, surprise, we had, just like how the feminine got, you know, triple masculine cards, the masculine has one masculine in here, but basically the first one is the Hermit, which is of course, a Virgo energy, a feminine energy. And the Hermit is, of course, the 9 numerology. So the masculine's being called to ask the big questions, to stop pretending that you know the answers. You don't have all the answers right now. It's okay. You might have to ask not only some questions about life and about your life and the direction you're going, but the biggest questions of all. Do I really believe in what I'm doing? Am I really headed in the right direction? And questioning these things will open you up, of course, to receive divine wisdom and divine guidance. And if you think that that you have to double down on this hard stance on something and just punch it into the world until eventually it's left your name in it, that's not going to get you where you want to go. Your arm will get tired way before the world or universe does. And the Hermit card is basically saying now's the time to ask yourself the big questions and be real about it and stop avoiding it. Because you have to go, what does the Hermit do? The Hermit takes a lantern, like a little bit of guidance, and goes off into the wilderness in the dark, where it's unknown, where you are not, where from 360 degrees, there's vulnerability everywhere. And that's not a comfy place for the masculine character to be in. And what's funny is then we have a masculine card, the Two of Wands. But the funny thing about this card is, yes, it's not only masculine, it's hyper masculine in a kind of a positive way, but in the sense that it's about taking bold action, taking action fearlessly, and doing so from a place of authentic honesty. Meaning, you might right now feel like the best thing for you to do is to get this promotion you've had your eye on. But you starting your own independent venture might be the thing that is far greater for you, where there's passion. And of course, with passion, it's always going to come that vulnerability. Because if you express what you really think, each and every one of us has a very unique vision of the world. No matter how the same or categorized we think we are, we all have a very unique set of circumstances that led us to the place we are, and with our own unique story or poem within us. So when you're going out there and creating whatever your thing is, with that masculine energy, understand that your vulnerability is not a weakness or a potential for failure. It's actually your power. The whole point is that when people see that, it inspires them, and they open up and they're like, I could do that too. I could do that. And so they look at that Aries flame and they say, like, I could replicate this energy and find my way to emulate it. And then, of course, a feminine energy, again, Cancer, the Chariot, which is funny because the Chariot is one of the most masculine sounding cards. Chariot's like movement right now. It's the 7 energy. So it's like we're moving forward no matter what. You have to rein these 2 horses in. But the reality is we are moving forward right now in the masculine. And while that's happening, we have both the horse that's pulling the actual events forward, and we've got the horse that's pulling the quality of those events forward, our stress levels forward, our sleep schedule forward. And if we think that we can just kind of let the right horse just take us all the way there, that horse is going to start to get tired or veer off of the road, and we're going to be pulled down there. The nurturing, the self-love, that might sound like this optional girly self-care thing. No, literally having the mental health and emotional health to make it through this journey is necessary. And if you don't believe me, then just look at anyone that's been successful. Yes, there's been long, work weeks, long hours, but there's also a level of making sure that they are, prepared and making sure that they're okay in order to live through the journey itself. So it's funny, the masculine doesn't just have to conventionally nurture themselves. You have to fully understand every spectrum of that self-nurturing. You have to look at the spiritual, of course, the Virgo, asking yourself the big questions, the emotional, the physical, the sleep, like everything. You have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and then putting your heart on the line with that 2 of Wands and making a big choice that's risky looking and that other people might see as flamboyant and ridiculous. And you might be opened up to that vulnerability, but you also might just inspire an entire group of people. You might, inspire yourself. You might make yourself proud of yourself by saying, hey, what it is that I brought to the table was unique and beautiful and incredible. And it was art, even if it wasn't literally art. So that's what I would say for the masculine.
Oh, that's amazing, Jax. Like I was getting all these downloads as you were talking. I'm like, why did I even pull cards? I could have just gone off of that.
Go for it.
But yes, that's so dead on. And it's funny because the cards that I pulled are completely in alignment with what you're saying. I'm just going to get into it. So this is from my Archangel Michael deck. And this card says, your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. And so for all of these, there's a prayer. I'll read the prayer because I think it'll be helpful. Here it says, please help me clearly hear, see, feel, and know the divine guidance that I've asked and prayed for. Allow me to keep my ego out of the way so your wisdom can come streaming through me for my own benefit and for those around me. And so what came through is that the masculine is learning how to listen to that real deep inner voice. It's like a pulse. It's like this fire, this Aries energy. It's like this burning fire and desire, and really get in alignment with their purpose versus listening to and making decisions out of their ego or out of what they perceive people want them to show up as. and really trusting their gut, really trusting that intuition, that incorporating that feminine side, and connecting with spirit, connecting with your spirit, so that you can feel really aligned in what you're going for and really clear for what you're going for. The next card that I pulled, it says, be gentle with yourself. And there's a man holding a little lamb. And the prayer here, it says, Archangel Michael, please help me. Please guide me in treating myself with gentle, nurturing love in everything I think, speak, and do. Help me know that I deserve this compassion. I release any feelings of guilt to you so that I may experience lasting inner peace. This is big. This is a
It
big
is
one.
funny that all of your cards are mirroring the tarot cards as well.
Totally.
It's kind of tripping me out. Okay.
Oh no, this is Pisces.
Like,
this is like my
right.
life.
This is Pisces life. Pisces life. Yeah.
Mingles with me, I'm like, oh my God. And I just like amplify, and like magical things just spark and start happening. It's a daily thing, you know. It's exhausting, but it's magical. But yeah, back to this. I felt it as I was reading this prayer. There's a huge paradigm shift going on right now. There's going to be a huge release when it comes to the masculine, really dismantling these ideas that they've heard, you know, like just be strong, and you know, men don't cry, and just these things that tell you to suppress who you are, or be really tough and be really strong and not, you know, need a break or need care. And what the masculine is doing, they're really starting to understand, no, I deserve just as much care and compassion and gentleness as other people do too. And I'm human. I'm not going to take this stance of doing everything and being everything to everyone. I'm really giving myself what I need from a loving place, not like a demanding or an egoic place, but really from an accountable self-love place of, you know what, I've been really hard on myself with this certain thing. I've been working so much and not seeing my wife and kids and connecting with them, or I haven't been eating right, you know, because I've been so committed to this goal. I really need to take care of myself, because I understand now that the more I pour into me, the more I'm able to show up for my job as fully present and fully there in my relationship, and you know, whatever these things are. And it's going to be a big paradigm shift, because you're going to realize, wow, okay, you're going to realize, like, instead of working harder, this is how you're going to work smarter, is by taking this time to be gentle with yourself. You're actually going to go farther ahead by integrating this, which is huge. It's amazing. So the next card I got actually mirrors the first card, and it says the person you're asking about is trustworthy. The first card it said your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. So this is really about trust.
Right.
This is really about trusting yourself. This is really about trusting in your purpose. This is really about trusting in your inner guidance and your spirit, outside of what your family's telling you, society's telling you, whoever is telling you you should be. It's really about taking that ownership and doing it with vitality, doing it with power, doing it with force. And it's funny, when you were talking about the candle, you had this candle analogy. I saw this clear as day in my mind's eye of this quote that's like, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And when you're lit as a candle, you're able to light others and not lose your spark. It's almost like by you stepping into who you truly are, you're giving permission. It's a mirror for everyone else to see, oh, I can do that too. I can do that too. And so you're stepping into this leader energy, that it's really like Aries energy. This leader.
Like the of Wands, that whole candle thing. That's
saying.
exactly oh my God. Yeah, exactly.
So it's really wild. But and even here in the photo, I'm sorry you guys can't see it that well, but there's this angel here, and these are all like stars and nebulas just coming out. It's almost like he's found his power, and there's all this energy supporting him because he's found it. But you have to light yourself. No one's gonna light you. So when you light yourself, that's when all of this is gonna come, because it's like moths to a flame.
That is so cool. That is awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
wow, this is great.
Yeah, no, we'll have to do this every once in a while. Just get together and do like a divine feminine and masculine reading, because that was really
Yeah.
fun. I've never done a reading like that before.
Me
So
neither. So first
yeah,
time for everything. It worked out well.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's been amazing having you on. Everybody, make sure and look at the links in the description. Go find you. Like it's seriously, you do such a diverse group of different works, watching your lives, seeing the different things you put out there, seeing like there's just an endless amount of things that you do. And it's like so cool. We couldn't even list them all here. So everybody, like, go check out your work and find the links in the description. And I will be having you on again sometime very soon. I think that would be really, really cool. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great night. And yeah, do you have any last thing you want to tell the collective?
Yeah, definitely reach out to me. Follow me if you want to connect. I love connecting with other people. I do like live readings every week in case you want to hop on and just listen or get one at a discounted price. And I wanted to thank you, Jack, so much for having me on. I remember when I first met you and you gave me your reading, and I remember I asked you, there was like a Q&A, and I was like, how are you doing all of this work without all of this certification? And you're
Right.
like, listen, my life is a certification. Like all the shit
That sounds like such a me thing to say. Such an
is like,
Aquarius rising.
you know, and but it's true. It's like we have to give ourselves permission, and in that moment, it's like you gave that to me, and so I just want to acknowledge you for that and thank you for that. And I love what you do. You make these concepts seem so clean and clear and linear and simple, especially when it comes to tarot and astrology. You're like a master. Like this
Thank
morning when I
you.
got
Oh,
up, I was like, I'm gonna do a live with Jax, the celebrity astrologer. Like
oh
that's
my
who you
God.
are in my mind. So I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
thank you because you're amazing, and this has been a pleasure.
Well, you're very welcome, and thank you too. Thank you guys, everyone who shows up here and who shares out these videos. We so appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys all a little bit later. See you guys.
See you.